Alright guys, Rhys here from More Than Lifting. Just before we get into this week's episode, I wanted to apologise for the audio quality. My mic has been bashing against my vest and rubbing up as I've been gesticulating all over the place, so enjoy the show. Yo, what's going on guys? Rhys here from More Than Lifting with the More Than Lifting podcast. Conversations about calisthenics, gymnastics, bodyweight training, all that good stuff. I'm Rhys, a personal trainer from the UK and founder of morethanlifting.com, and in this episode we're going to be talking about picking the right isometrics for your goals. Alright, because if you're doing front lever training, there's no point in you doing a crow stand. Alright, we're going to get into that in this episode and probably a few other things as well, but we'll just see how we go. Alright, this is actually part 2 of a 2-part series on isometrics and using isometrics in your workout. In the last episode I had a bunch of different ways you can fit isometrics into your workout. We spoke about the different isometrics, eccentrics and concentrics and all that crazy stuff, but right now we're going to take it up to the next level and talk about how you can actually apply that into your workout. Because yeah, you can think, okay, I could do like isometrics between reps, or I can do isometrics as transitions between an exercise, or you know what I mean, or at the end or whatever. But if you're not doing the right isometrics for your goals, then just like not doing the right dynamic exercises for your goals, it's not going to help you. Well, it will, but it won't give you the results that you're after. Okay, so isometrics isometrics, right, they can either push you forward or they can hold you back, literally. And we don't want to be doing anything that's going to hold us back, because like, what's the point? We're training to improve ourselves and not stay the same, right? Whether it's to learn new skills or get in better shape or anything, it doesn't matter. The point is that your exercises need to be fit in your goals. If they're not, then you're not going to be accomplishing the goals you set out to, and it's going to be a lot of frustration on your part, not on my part, on your part, okay? And we don't want that for you. So the first thing I gotta mention it, is always be front loading. Like, we've been over this so much, but if you're not front loading your workouts, and that's putting the hardest stuff first, and working down to the easier stuff, then you're literally making it hard for yourself. All right, if you do the hard stuff at the first, when you've got the most energy and muscle power available to you, then you're going to get the most out of those exercises. And then as you fatigue and wear out your muscles throughout your workout, you can get to easier and easier exercises that are going to basically still simulate doing those higher level exercises, because you're exhausted at this point. Okay, so like, don't do cardio before you're training. All right, do it afterwards if you're gonna do it, or just do it on a separate day and be smart about it. But that anyway, we're going off topic here already. So first things first, always be front loading. So that means you're going to do your high level isometric skills first. If you're doing isometrics, like skill training, if you're doing skill training specifically, then you're going to be doing those skills right at the start. Yeah, that comes before you worry about your pulls and your basic movement patterns, your pulls, your dips, and your core work, okay? They're not the skills. You want to be hitting those skills first, front loading. So think things like levers and planche and stuff like that. If you're working on those kind of things, do them at the front of your workout, the first part of your workout. Don't wait till the end. Don't do all your pulls and your muscle ups or whatever, and then try and do front levers afterwards. Like, it's gonna be you're never gonna be as good as you think as you are. You're never gonna be as capable in that moment, because you've just done loads of training, man. So don't do that. Always front load. So that means high level isometric skills right at the start of your workout. Okay, this is stuff that you need to do first so that you can do them instead of not do them later. So that's the first one, okay? This is stuff like front lever progressions, like back lever progressions, flag stuff, whatever your high level, hardest, most exhausting stuff is, do that first. Next thing then is mid-level or comparable isometrics come in the middle of your workout. What I mean by that is stuff you can do. So like, if you want to stick an isometric in the foundation tricep, so instead of doing like leg raises, you want to do a different, like an actual isometric, maybe like handstands are good enough. Maybe handstands are hard for you. You can do like where you're doing your 10 reps of pulls, 10 reps of dips, or variations, maybe you could do like a 10-second, or even better, a 30-second handstand, or maybe like 3 times 10 seconds, or however you want to break it down. So you still have that kind of time scale, but you're not necessarily worrying about, oh, it has to be 30 seconds, or I've got to do it, or if it's 20 seconds, like I've got to do it again. Don't worry about that, but just think, oh yeah, 30 seconds worth of handstands, all right, and getting in and getting out doesn't count. This is good quality handstand, all right? So that's one idea. You could do something like L-sits, or something like that, and it's got to be comparable to the work you're doing. So say if you're doing pulls and dips, like you don't want to be doing a crow stand, all right? I mean, you can, just like you could kind of do handstands, but like a crow stand it's not comparable to like those kind of exercises. So instead, maybe like a hanging L-sit would be better, or something like that, rather than a crow stand, because it doesn't match up with the exercises, and that's a lot of that comes down to preference as well. Like there's nothing that's stopping you from doing a crow stand with them, but like that's better as like a lower level exercise that you do with more like low level drills when you're doing your plank raises or your front bridge and stuff like that. It kind of fits in around those exercises, and that's where the next one comes, the low level low level isometrics for finishers, or like towards the end of your workout where you're kind of cooling down, things like hollow bodies and stuff like that, like really low level stuff. This is great. Okay, this is kind of place you'd stick things like flutter kicks and stuff like that anyway, so I think it's that kind of level that you want to do after you've done everything else. Okay, yeah, so that's it. Now if in your say in your workouts you're going to do something that's a bit more technical or complex than that, so say you're doing like ice cream makers, and these are like where you do a pull-up, and at the top you pull up and then you just lever out into a front lever, or like a straddle or whatever. So maybe you're going to do something like that. So you're not really doing pulls every time, and is that really like, would that detract from your pull strength, or would just doing your pulls detract from that kind of strength? Like that's kind of arguable, but you could mix that with like a more complex dip. So you could say, oh, that kind of hits the pull, because you're always at the top of your pull when you come in. So that's like an isometric pull transition to like a front lever kind of. All right, it doesn't quite work like that, but it's that kind. You could say like that's happening. Well, it is what's happening basically. So think of something that would go with that quite nicely, something that could be paired up with that, something like Russian dips, for example. You could do Russian dips with them. Like that would be a very kind of powerful superset. Whether or not you decide to then bring in some like supported leg raises or something like that, that's up to you. But it wouldn't really make sense to do like ice cream makers with dips. I mean, like I said, there's nothing stopping you, but like the two levels of exercise don't really match up. So instead, do like a more technical, more complex dip variation, and kind of take it from there, or mix it with more of a dynamic skill progression. Like, because that's really what the ice cream maker is. It's like a dynamic skill progression. So maybe mix it with something else like that you could then work in, or even like a dynamic isometric variation, and then you'd have some crazy skills sets. You know what I mean? So that'd be quite fun. Anyway, what else have we got then? So the point really with these is that you never settle for a simple exercise if a simple exercise is like too easy. All right, so that's why it needs to match up with what you're working on. If you're doing an exercise that's too easy, then like if you can do say an L-sit for 30 seconds like straight, then, and you can only do a tuck planche for like 10 seconds, but you work, and then why wouldn't you just do your tuck planche for your 10 seconds, push your limits more, rather than instead doing your L-sit? And this also goes for things like picking the right exercise for the goal. So where I was talking about that, if you're thinking like in my workouts, so yeah, when I do I do all my lever stuff right at the start, and then as I come through, I'm going to do some pulls and some dips, maybe like lever oriented ones. Bloody hell, did I mess up that word? Anyway, so they kind of lean towards the front lever, so maybe doing like front lever pulls, or you're doing some kind of like plan, so I don't know, some kind of front lever dip. Is that even possible? That'd be pretty cool. So some kind of dip variation, and then you want to do like L-sits as your isometric, your core isometric, and you're thinking like isometric, that might be quite a high level thing for you. You can probably do it, but that isn't really working towards your front lever. Yeah, you could argue that it does a little bit, but is there a better isometric exercise you could do instead of that? All right, so let's just, because I kind of complicated it with me rambling a bit, let's just go through that again. So say you're doing pulls, dips, and leg raises after your front lever stuff. So you come into the gym with all your energy, do your front lever training stuff, and then you're going to do your strength. You move on to your strength, tricep, your foundation, your pulls, your dips, your leg raises. Yeah, leg raises are pretty good for a front lever. You know, you're working your shoulder load, you're working your core. Is there a better one? You want to do an isometric, so maybe you want to do, like, you're thinking tuck L-sits. So not tuck L-sits, just hang-in half levers, yeah, hang-in L-sit. And yeah, that's pretty good as well, but leg raises would be better. And what would be even better is something like an inverted hang. And this is where you're literally hanging upside down from the bar, with your legs up in the air, and on the rings it's really easy, so it's not really worth doing, but on a bar it is incredibly difficult because it forces that hollow body position when you're upside down, and like your legs want to come down, so you're resisting falling into the front lever in a way. And this is just great conditioning. It's much harder than it looks, and actually just maintaining that position is, yeah, like I say, incredibly difficult, but it's activating all the muscles. It's putting you in that position that's training that goal, training that front lever, training towards that goal. So if you're doing these over L-sits, that's going to get you to your front lever faster, because it is it's a comparable exercise to the training. So it's an exercise that's going to help you hit that goal. It's an exercise that actually trains not quite the position, but very similar, not quite the correct muscle tension, but it's just like a different angle, so it's just a slightly easier version, similar to like a tuck raise progression. Instead you're starting from vertical and coming down, rather than in a tuck and extending out to a full lay. All right, so think about that as well when you're doing your work, when you're planning your workouts, or when you're thinking about your goals and you're in the gym and you're like, right, what do I do next? And you think, I've just done loads of pulls and dips, I want to do some isometric stuff. Think about whether the isometric is actually working that goal. L-sits wouldn't be a bad option. Yeah, inverted hangs would be better. Dragon flags might be even better than that. Yeah, and maybe your inverted hang you can hold for 30 seconds. So instead of just doing an inverted hang, change it to a dynamic exercise. Think how you can change that. Yeah, don't necessarily settle for the basic isometric exercise. Just because you're doing quote-unquote isometrics doesn't mean you can't make that into a dynamic variation. So like dragon flags or inverted hangs, you could kind of do like a wiper variation. So, or even wipers would be great, wipers would be great for lever training. But so wipers are like, it's like a leg raise at the top of your leg raise. So your feet are up on the bar and your body is basically like horizontal. And what you do is you hold that position and then you turn your legs either side, so towards each hand, and keep going to 90, and then towards the other hand and go down to 90. So you hit that horizontal position on your left side and on the right side. That's a pretty crazy exercise, but you could do that in your inverted hang as well. So in your inverted hang, you can hold that, you can start to twist out to one side, you can start to twist out to the other. If you're doing your front lever stuff, we'll keep rolling with that, and you're doing, say, dragon flags. All right, you might be all right doing a dragon flag a little bit. You might be able to come down and hold it for a position, for a point, and then, like I said in a couple of episodes back where we were talking about this, do flutter kicks. You know what I mean? So you maintain that position, you can't quite press back up. So instead, just hold that, change it into a dynamic exercise, and really just shred everything you can. As long as you breathe in, you can hold the position. All right, so just keep going, keep breathing, and that is how you're going to hit your goals a lot faster. Yeah, isometrics are very powerful tools, very powerful exercises you can use in your workouts, but if you're not doing the right ones, you're not going to see the results you want. All right, so it's important that you do the right ones, okay? And it's not necessarily right or wrong, but it's the right ones for your level, for your goals, to help you really hit your targets, okay? And in that sense, there are better and worse options All right, don't settle for simple ones. Always push your boundaries, always push your limits. Try dynamic variations, try other isometric variations. Maybe you can move, transition into another place and hold that, or slightly set off center one side and then slightly off center the other, kind of like the wipers. You have options available to you, and it's the opportunity for you to be creative as well. So don't waste that, enjoy it, because it's much more fun just having a bit of fun with your training rather than being super strict. Like maybe one day just do something a bit more fun. Maybe do your L-sits. Just because you've been doing L-sits while you've been doing front levers, that's not the end of the world. But like I said, you can be doing better stuff. All right, so guys, I don't really know how long I've been going for. I've just kind of powered through like this, I guess. It's been pretty quick, I think, but that is it for this episode. If you like what you heard, as always, give us a subscribe, share us with your mates and training partners. If you got a second, nip over to your podcast player of choice and just leave us an honest 5-star rating and review, wink wink. Let us know how I can improve the show, because I want to help you guys hit your goals better. I've got loads of ideas for episodes, but if I can prioritize them to help you better, then that helps everyone, because there are other people in similar situations to you who can grow and who can develop from having the right information in the right order, and that's really important to me. All right, so any suggestions, reach out to me at More Than Lifting, otherwise on Instagram, otherwise just come have a chat with me for fun or check me out everywhere else at More Than Lifting, and I will catch you in the next episode. So like I say, hit subscribe and don't forget to check back in a couple of days for that. I will catch you then, and as always, keep in touch with yourselves.